I'm 4. I'm in that backyard at 8 Beaufort Street in Beverly, Massachusetts, from a provincial town, North Shore of Boston. I've got my blue kicking ball in my hand, perfectly cupped, ready for my next step to kick. I'm determined to be the best kicker in the class. And I'm ready with just the right stance and that sort of 1-2 easygoing 1-2 kick. I do it once, I do it again. I do it over and over and over, just like Bobby Conlon does on the playground. He is the best athlete and the most popular guy in the class. You know, it really sucks being a girl. You know, the girls' side of the playground is very small. It's about a quarter of the size, and then it's right next to the street, so all the girls can do in their frilly dresses is play jump rope and hopscotch. Meanwhile, the whole rest of the playground are the boys running and cackling, and they have all the balls. The next day, I go on into school, and I go onto the playground, and I pass the girls completely. I go over to the center where there's the alleyway between the boy side and the girl side. What happens? A ball is coming straight for me. I pick it up. I can't believe it. It's that kickball. And now I'm ready. I'm ready to show my stuff. I do the 1, 2, pow! The ball flies all over the side of the boys' playground. Their eyes are wide open like saucers. They say, "Susan, come play with us." I'm like, "No, we can't do that. We never cross the line from the boys' side to the girls' side." But I see the principal. Mr. Z is up by the school walk. I say, "Mr. Z, I'm right here by the boys' playground. My foot is right on the edge. Please, can you let me play on that side?" "Absolutely not. That's not done here." One of the boys chimes up. "Mr. Z, we need Susan on our team." He goes, "Go for it." So now I know there's a way to fight to get on the boys' team, and you do not have to be second class. I'm 8. Afternoon after school on a Tuesday, I happen to be walking into my parents' bedroom, and I notice that my chin now reaches up just about to be able to reach past their dresser. So now I can see myself in the mirror. And I'm looking at myself, and I say, "Who is this girl?" And while I'm doing that, I'm hearing my mom in the background. She has kind of the similar kinds of stories, and I hear her having a certain plea for help. And I kind of brace myself for what is it that she's going to ask me to do. There's a certain neediness around it, and I'm feeling a little sort of constrained. I'm feeling a little bit suffocated. I certainly don't want to be needy. And what I decide is I'm not going to really ask for anything much. And I'm going to start to earn some money. I'm going to take my blue Schwinn bike, and I'm going to ride it into town, and all those places that people are throwing the garbage on the street and the Coke bottles, I'm going to pick them all up, and we're going to start earning. I'm going to make some money, because if it's going to be up to me. I'm 15. We're in a split-level home on 3 Weathervane Way in Dix Hills, Long Island, a suburb of New York City. It's midnight, just past. It's very cold February. I finally got my brother and my sister to sleep. Put them to bed. I made sure that they were safe. My mother and my father were out bowling with some neighbors. So I put myself to bed finally, and I'm kind of quivering under the sheets. I have some anxiety in my gut. I'm actually afraid of the dark. But there's something else happening. Something's not quite right. I hear an ominous knock on the door. I jump out of bed. My head is spinning. My heart is racing. I run down the hall. I run down to the front door. Mrs. K is there, pale white as a ghost. I open the door. She grabs me and holds me, hugs me tight and sobbing. Your father dropped dead at the bowling alley. My whole body is tingling. I'm feeling faint. And my heart is pounding like a rock. That's what my dad was. He was our rock. He made everything right. When he was there, things were good. We were calm. We were like the glue that kept the family together. And now, what do? We're faced with the three of us. My mother, my brother, my sister, and me. That's 4. And then I realize that it's time for me to step up. I'm going to have to help my mother in the house. I'm going to have to help her raise my brother and my sister to whatever extent I can. So what I do is become fiercely independent. I decide that I'm not going to ask for anything, and I'm not going to take anything from anybody. And in fact, I'm going to figure it all out on my own. And that's what I do in the household, helping with my mother, my siblings, and figuring things out as we go. The next thing that happens is I become hyper-rational. I decide that I'm going to reason everything through. I'm going to analyze everything and make the best decisions. So I'm on the way to college. I devour Ayn Rand, and I major in operations research in college. When I'm on the verge of leaving college and I'm going to enter the world of business, I decide I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed in this world. I'm hired by a very large corporation, actually 2 of them separately, and they had, as part of their fast track management development program, I become a change agent. And when the industry disrupts because of deregulation, I open my businesses to then help the industry determine how to behave in this brave new world of competition. And I ride this wave for 25 plus years. It's an incredible wave of opportunity, of entrepreneurial adventure. Fast forward 2005. I'm looking out of my duplex apartment on Central Park West in New York City. It's about 11 o'clock at night in March. My husband is upstairs in the office. My daughter, who's 10, is safely in bed in her bedroom. But while I look outside at these beautiful, lush scents of the vegetation in Central Park, I also see this gorgeous, gorgeous tinkling of the lights and all the beautiful landmark buildings that surround the park. It's a breathtaking experience. But suddenly 2 words come out of my mouth. And I'm by myself, but I'm saying them out loud. I'm done. And at once, I'm exhilarated and I'm terrified. I'm exhilarated from the life that we built and from the experience that I'm having right in front of my living room at this moment. But I'm terrified because I don't know what that means. What else is there? All those years of proving and climbing on that ladder. What does it mean that I'm done? I'm feeling empty, I'm feeling stale and stunted. Is this what power is about? 3 months later, I'm on a virtual call, coast to coast, with a coach. It's on a June afternoon, beautiful sunny afternoon. We're feeling great. And Rena is a redheaded, gorgeous, successful coach with a very wry sense of humor. I tell her my plight. Rena, I've been doing all the right things. And now I'm feeling stale and stunted and empty. Maybe I just need a rebrand. Rena says, hold on, first things first. Let me find out how you're wired. So she gives me a test, a little word assessment, very short. And she comes back with an assessment. And she shows me 4 quadrants. And she points the upper right-hand quadrant. And what she has to say shocks me. Susan, you are profoundly wired for connectedness, truth, and innovation. I'm dumbfounded. But I had to stop. I had to take a breath. This really opens something very special, and I don't know what it is. But as I reflect on this, I'm realizing I would never have gotten the business that I did in all those years if I didn't create the connections and the relationships with the clients over this time. And if I didn't build relationships with people in the industry and the business and had a broad network. And certainly I could never have delivered the goods for the client if I didn't bring them the understanding of the truth of how to be in a competitive environment and how to innovate innovate their product set to compete. So I'm starting to wonder, all those years of cultivating my masculine energy with whatever it takes, I'm curious, is it really the feminine that's been driving the train? So I know I have to take a deep dive. That's what I do. I become part of this amazing global network of leaders, of women who are all engaged with the power of the feminine power principles. I was invited to a subgroup of women doing that to bring feminine power principles to corporations. I was elated. I walked in the room. It was a virtual room. I felt seen. I felt heard. I was valued because of my being and who I was, not because of my accomplishments. And here's what I learned. I learned how to feel with my heart, with my gut. I went from just the head to be able to embody the connection that makes the difference for myself and for others around me. What we were doing in that room was spectacular. When I think about it, it takes my breath away. We were creating the conditions for all of us to rise together. And we were modeling what we were doing in the world as we go out into the world, bringing those same principles for others to rise around us. Now, this is a different kind of power. It's power with, not power over. When we're in our power, everyone around us rises. I ask you to think or feel. What would it feel like in any of your parts of your life? It could be your workplace, it could be a community, and it could be even your family unit. What if you showed up in those spaces, and other people showed up in those spaces, for example, that were more collaborative, that you were working together? You came with the notion, with the intention of working together versus being independent and having your own agenda. How does that feel? What would it feel like if you came in with your whole self, not just with your rational mind trying to solve a problem, but with your heart and your gut, where you're truly listening, you're aligned with yourself, and you're listening to others in the room, and you're feeling the feelings, and you're listening to your gut and your heart and your mind together, and everyone in the space has the same sentiment. What would it be like if you came into that room and you came in with curiosity, with openness, with receptivity? as opposed to just whatever it takes, just give me the problem and let's solve it. How does all that feel in that kind of environment? When I realized what was going on and how I was transforming for myself in the context of with others, I understood how critical this is. It's not just for me, it's for the world. And this is what the world needs now. When we are all in our power, everyone around us rises. I'm Susan Mazonson, and today I have the privilege of working with individuals in diverse teams, building bridges, discovering their truths, sourcing their own power. My biggest observation is the power of connectedness, of truth, and innovation in creating the conditions for all of us to rise. As we enter this new world emerging, let us all rise for our collective future.